Every person will have success and joy in life, and we are all convinced that our success and happiness is highly dependent on our relationship with other people. The key to successful relationships with others is to learn as much as possible about human nature. An important reason why many people do not have the necessary assurance in their relationships with others is that they do not know what they are doing. When independence is at a low level, everything can be a threat, such that one may at times consider the least innocent criticism as a disastrous event. There is a phrase that says, "If you believe in yourself, others will also believe in you." Clearly, every human being starves to be accepted, admired, and appreciated by others. We all have this quality in common, but we all have different sides of our personality. We must know that deep down we are not what we call ourselves with the words or labels which the society has attached to us. Childhood, education, religious beliefs and threats, social environment and legislation, moral sanctions, anxiety, and the influence of the environment make one become a very superficial creature, and it causes the formation of flames of greed, jealousy, self-esteem, lusts, hate, and anger, which burns one inside and forms a long-lasting, confused mental condition. That is, for the most people from early childhood, they have been involuntarily programmed and made a kind of slave to the environment's provisions, norms, beliefs, traditions, and customs. Well, truly speaking, as far as I am concerned, one of the mediums and shortcuts that helped me obtain a great part of my freedom from all of these indoctrinations was by acquiring the necessary knowledge in astrology, palmistry, graphology, which threw light on my true nature and the problems that I had been born and brought up with, enabling and giving me a better understanding of what was truly going on inside me and why. One could choose a method that suits one best. Once one has realized and analyzed the authority figure in one's being who continuously dictates him or her about what is right and what is wrong, what one should or should not, what one should believe in or mistrust, using means like yoga and meditation, qigong, tai chi, zen, and other meditation techniques, or even studying the original and the true philosophies behind Taoism, Buddhism, and Hinduism, in accordance with each individual's interest, one could try to achieve the true peace which is missing from nearly everyone's life on the planet. It is evident that no matter which class of society we belong to, we are all knowingly or unknowingly struggling so eagerly and so hard on daily basis in search of the freedom from the constant chattering of our minds, which predictates and predefines judgments and resistances in accordance with the inbuilt indoctrinations by the society in which we were and are still being brought up. In other words, we could call it The past knowledge of our ancestors regarding the shape of the structure of the society and the style of living that one should follow to be accepted and respected by his or her fellow man. No one until now with certainty has proved this knowledge to be the true path towards happiness, joy, and blissfulness, which we all thirst after. On the contrary, it has been made obvious again and again that the obedience of this knowledge, be it based on religious indoctrinations or political views and preferences, racial or national partitions, has proved nothing but the ongoing mental and physical suffering for all living beings, not forgetting the environmental disasters in form of climatic changes on the planets in all forms, and the state of anxiety and sorrow that they have been causing. So what we actually are looking for is indirectly freedom from the known. Unfortunately, still to this date, the majority of the people are following the wrong paths. In accordance with the already mentioned accumulated knowledge in the memory locations of their brains and every cell of their bodies from their ancestors, and look for the security and the freedom in attaching themselves more and more to material things and the people around them. The search for true joy and happiness in the outside world, where actually there is no guarantee at all for nothing, has for the most proved to be futile. Constantly trying to acquire the desired name, fame, and the security in one's professions, relationships, health matters, and beliefs by utilizing one's pre-programmed brain and the indoctrinated knowledge as a media of communication with the outside world has brought about nothing other than stress and thus mental and physical illnesses in people's bodies and spirits. Today we know and clearly observe that trusting and respecting and voting for the so-called religious and political leaders and authorities in power who govern the nations and a few who govern the entire world with their indoctrinated mindset has caused only misery, death and destruction and wars throughout the planet, and this has been going on for thousands of years. But the good news is that the half of the problems that force people to contact psychologists, psychiatrists, and counselors, and other precious experts could be solved by studying and analyzing the path and the beliefs towards the formation of our inbuilt and accepted destiny. We all know that the disharmony is created through disharmonious thoughts, and on the contrary, peace and happiness, which all humanity is searching for so eagerly, can be acquired through honest actions. Unfortunately, there is war, struggle, conflict, and insecurity within almost all of us. And this has filled us all with anger and bitterness. And this appears as the result of one's comparison, consideration, and assessment in accordance with one's saved invisible pain and suffering from childhood and youth in one's subconscious mind. The indoctrinations that with time became more and more common to us, the attitudes, opinions, and settings we were taught in relation to how we should be and act in accordance with the expectations of the society from us in outside world. The strict education standards, accusations, and reproaches that broke our confidence and created a guilty conscience and self-pity in our minds and beings. One has to look for the funds which could throw light upon the conflicts and the patience tests that we have been through, especially in our childhood days and later on during our adolescence years and our youth. For the better understanding of the matter, one good example could be the fear of physical and mental punishment that in many cultures and religious belief systems in distinct parts of the planet that the children are exposed to for violating society's predetermined inbuilt moral codes. The decisions taken on prescribed laws regarding what should be considered to be a normal sex life that had been taken by a few human beings like you and me thousands of years ago, which have been obeyed by generations after generations, and it continues until this date. The reason that I come with this example is that in most of the countries, sex has been looked upon and still is being considered to be a taboo, without anyone having the power or the freedom even to talk or to discuss the matter. Forget she or he being able to do anything about it. I feel that this one natural instinct should be given more consideration, as its suppression can affect the rest of the life of the person and others in his and her surroundings in many unpleasant ways. So we should realize that now the time has come for us to meditate on the old indoctrinated habits. Otherwise, the bad feelings that have happened once in the past will unfortunately continue to pursue us and will carry our lives in most of the cases marked by darkness, dirt, disorder, and disharmony, or just a sad state. Now it's time to free ourselves and regain our self-respect for our own sake. We must solve the complexities and inhibitions we have and develop our personality as we want it with loving and democratic cultural values and laws. The time to be reborn is not in the next life, but to complete generation of consciousness and be reborn, not as a continuation of what we have been or what we are, but to an inner revolution. The time has arrived to open endless dimensions of freedom over our limitations that were predetermined by few others, to find out one's weaknesses that have appeared in one's character, but without criticizing them, and learn how to work with them to avoid being enslaved by them. Remember, it's not a battle against the evil powers that we are talking about. Of course, to achieve this, dependence between parents and children must not continue throughout their lives. Young people must dare to claim their own line. The experience of becoming an author must give a sense of relief, joy, and liberation. Goodbye to the difficulties of living with the expectations of the outside world. Here, the first step is to accept yourself and others without the suppression of the religious and cultural sides and energies that have been formed since the early childhood days in the subconscious mind of everyone. We must get our powerful thinking apparatus and its enormous power to work for us. Our sense must serve us and not control us. We must get the confidence and the optimism on which we are moving forward. In this way, we will be less interested in playing roles and games with the intentions of impressing others. We must be more honest and more connected with whom we are, other than trying to be the person who others think that we should be. We must express our individuality, often contrary to social conventions, expectations, and condemnations. Here I guess that it is more than clear for all of us, whether young or old, rich or poor, black or white, man or woman, handsome, beautiful or ugly, depending on one's tastes, that the painful mental and physical state of confusion cannot disappear just because we want it. But it is possible to remove the tendencies that cause the pain and thus the dissatisfaction in our lives. To realize that we own nobody and nothing forever, and that everything is temporary. Remembering that nothing is everlasting, and that everything is continuously changing. To understand that belongings cannot give us security while we are living our lives, no matter where we come from and who we may be. To realize that the only thing which is certain is death. Otherwise, there is certainty in nothing else, not in our professions, health, relationships, and you name it. When we understand that we have come empty-handed and we shall leave empty-handed, we will enjoy what we own more joyfully and much more effectively, spreading love all over in every direction. Peace, hatred, revenge, envy, jealousy, and fear destroys and dissolves our personality. Concern is the most cunning and most devastating of our feelings. Many diseases come to us because of fear and insecurity. Our lives have become a habit. Let us take good care of the habits. Find out the things that deprive us of our imbalances. Do not waste time and feelings in the past, and try to keep in mind that we are always in the present, in the now. Astrology and palmistry are not, as many believe, proof of our powerlessness in relation to creation, but conversely, it makes us more focused on the liberation of the potential in us all at any moment. That is, although maybe the past may be held responsible for the inequalities, differences, and injustices we observe in our lives on a daily basis, we have been given the opportunity to do what we do with clear intentions. This we can achieve only after realization of the causes and the false indoctrinations behind our sufferings and not obeying them any longer. Thus we can influence and change our destiny. No matter where we come from, our race, ethnic heritage, social and economic background, and sexual preferences, we have a present with us that allows us to find the way to peace and quiet. Knowing your true nature, you are able to ask yourself the right questions about what could be the cause of one's joy and suffering in one's soul without any confusion. One could stop blaming others for their defeat, disappointments and start analyzing themselves and recording what's missing from one's life, correcting themselves, and hopefully starting a new way of living their lives. You can record the internal and external aids that you can use to accomplish the goal and therefore free yourself from the inevitable destiny. Our actions are like a mirror that reflects the quality of our thoughts and feelings. One must be able to evaluate one's intentions and the outcome of one's actions. You must be aware of the cause and the effect of all that you do. One has to find a way to liberation of himself or herself from all suffering. One must be able to obtain the emotional safety. The only one who keeps us from peace and success is ourselves. Knowing it and stubborn not to do anything about it is like not knowing it at all. The teachings of the art of palmistry, astrology, graphology, etc. will shed light on and reveal your hidden unpleasant weaknesses before you, and ultimately the use of the aids like yoga and meditation, qigong, etc. will free you from your problems gradually and give you the power to control your thoughts, feelings and actions in a smoother way with more tranquility and pleasure and less stress and strain. This way your current conscious actions will create your desired peaceful experiences ahead without being a victim of your past. It will remind you that material things and social relationships are unstable and can easily be influenced by forces beyond our control. It will teach you that the pleasures they offer are not reliable or secure. The true knowledge about ourselves will make us give top priority to spending a great deal of our time and energy in preventing the indoctrinations of our minds to control our beings inside and outside. If not, we will misuse them on external lusts, which would bring about illusions, competitions, greediness, jealousy, anger and hatred, which would actively block the qualities necessary for the creation of our inner peace. Instead, it will push us farther and farther away from the true target towards which we should otherwise take the necessary steps. This way, we will be able to avoid many misunderstandings and solve the many conflicts born out of our in-programmed habits of the past. Many have tried many tactics and methods, listened to many gurus, gone to church, mosque, temple, etc. in search of calmness and tranquility, joy and happiness, without obtaining any lasting, favorable result. Life has been a great battle for them and continues to be for others. Many have been extinguished by their attempts, as it has resulted in failure repeatedly. They are not able, or they do not feel that they can handle more challenges any longer. They have lost their confidence and worth before their eyes. They feel fainted by their destiny. But they must never give up. They must not lose their confidence. We must remind ourselves that the happiness has never been the aim, can never be the aim. It has been, and it is always just a journey. It is better late than never. So let us act now and find out the truth behind disappointments in our lives and try to open our third eye and look at the world around us with a clearer vision and be born anew. I wish you all good luck.